Welcome to the Abrams Boxing Show, powered by Last Out Media and brought to you by www.15rounds.com, the worldwide leader in boxing news. Also, Abrams Boxing PR Media and Broadcasting, the industry standard for boxing media relations and play-by-play broadcasting. Also, check out www.abramsboxing.com, Abrams Boxing on YouTube, as well as M. Abrams Boxing on Twitter and Marc Abrams Boxing on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. I'm Marc Abrams, and we have an outstanding show for you this week. We have a couple good guests. We've got Andrew Moloney, who's going to take on Junto Nakatani on the Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko portion, the ESPN portion of the card, as well as Dalton Smith, a good-looking, undefeated junior welterweight out of Sheffield, England. So let's get right to it. Last Saturday night, at the University of Texas at Arlington campus, William Zepeda, the undefeated lightweight, remained that way as he took out Jaime Arboleda in two massive rounds for Zepeda, 3 knockdowns on body shots. Zepeda goes to 28-0 with 24 knockouts. Arboleda drops to 19-3, 14 knockouts. Zepeda looks sensational that fight. He's just another name in that loaded and crowded lightweight mix that already has the aforementioned Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, Frank Martin, George Kambosos. A lot of good fights to be made at 135 pounds. I know I probably missed a couple. Shakur Stevenson, who might be the best out of all of them. So how could I forget that? So William Zepeda, the Golden Boy contender now, 28-0, 24 knockouts after a big win last Saturday night on the Zone. Last Saturday night on BXNG TV, Hugo Noriega, Cuban prospect, went to 7-0, 4 knockouts as he went 10 rounds for the first time as he scored a 10-round unanimous decision over Jean Rivera Pacheco. Pacheco 8-2 with 1 knockout. Scores were 100-90, 98-92, and 96-94 for Hugo Noriega. That fight took place at the Miccosukee Indian Gaming Resort in Miami, Florida. This Saturday night, live on the Zone pay-per-view, the undisputed super middleweight championship will be on the line as Canelo Alvarez takes on mandatory challenger John Ryder in a fight that I know a lot of people aren't that excited about. Ryder's not the sexiest name in the bunch that people want to see Canelo fight, but he's earned the opportunity with the wins over Zach Parker, the win over Danny Jacobs, the controversial narrow loss to Callum Smith a couple years back. So it should be a spectacle. 55,000 people. The first fight back in nearly 12 years for Alvarez in his hometown, Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. The fights begin at 7 p.m. on the Zone pay-per-view. The undercard be headlined by Julio Cesar Martinez, defending the WBC flyweight championship against Ronel Bautista. Also, Steve Spark is in tough. We'll also see the return of the nail, Alexander Glovacic, who had one fight already since his return. He'll be in a step-up fight against Ricards Bolotniks as well. So a good night of boxing. Be interesting to see what Alvarez does. I'm not one of these guys who likes to look past what's in front of him. But, we'll see what happens in September. Is it going to be a fight with Bivol, Benavidez, someone? So we'll see what happens. Canelo Alvarez, I'm picking 8th, 9th round stoppage for Alvarez in his hometown. Going to thrill the 55,000 that will be on hand at the stadium in Guadalajara, Mexico. Saturday night, I'll be in Washington, D.C. to take the sports and entertainment arena. Suleiman Sagawa takes on Misael Lopez. I'll be broadcasting that live on BXNGTV.com. Battle of former Showbox alums. So should be an interesting fight, very competitive fight. Sagawa against Misael Lopez. And also Saturday night on WatchBoxing.tv, the ITK Boxing presents Saturday night fights. TK Boxing presents ABF Intercontinental Lightweight Championship fight live from Tennessee, featuring Roger Hilly taking on Oscar Bravo. That takes place at 6 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday night on WatchBoxing.tv. This last week while I was in Las Vegas, I had a chance to talk to Andrew Moloney, who's going to take on Junto Nakatani on the Devin Haney fight against Vasily Lomachenko. This fight will take place on the ESPN portion. So this is how it went when I spoke to Andrew Moloney. With Andrew Moloney, May the 20th, Junto Nakatani, big fight here right down the road at the MGM Grand. What are your thoughts for about a month out or so?
My thoughts are that I couldn't be more excited. I feel like this is everything that I've worked for nearly 20 years now, to fight for a world title in Vegas on a huge card like this against an undefeated fighter. This is how you're supposed to become world champion. And then not only that, to be able to do it 1 week after my brother becomes world champion, I feel like this is all meant to be. This is our story, and this is why we've dedicated almost our whole life to this sport, is for this one moment.
Nakatani's a guy who's been building up a big name for himself, mostly in Japan, for pretty much his whole career in Japan. Now you get him on familiar soil. You're from Australia, but you've trained here at the Top Rank Gym a lot. You fought here in Vegas. So it's almost like you feel like you're the home fighter for this world title opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's fought in America as well, but I feel like America...
But you've been here a lot.
Yeah, I feel like America is our second home now. I feel very, very comfortable here. We love being here, and yeah, I do. I feel like this is not quite a home advantage, but somewhat. I feel like this is meant to be. This is my time. I feel like this is how the story was meant to go. As I said, for me and Jason to do this 1 week apart, it's so special for us and our family and our team, and it's all meant to be, and it's going to be very, very special.
Even though the Franco trilogy didn't go your way, you're tested, you're battle tested. You feel some of that experience is going to help you come May the 20th?
100%. It still kicks me that I didn't walk away with that belt from that trilogy. I know that I'm a better fighter than what I showed in those fights, and I have learnt a hell of a lot from that. And you're going to see a much, much better fighter in this fight against Nakatani, and I'm ready to prove to everyone what I'm all about.
Like I said, I know you fought on some good cards, but when you and your brother being little kids and starting out boxing, you ever thought you'd be fighting on a major big pay-per-view event type card here in Las Vegas?
Oh, man, this is what dreams are made of. This is what every young fighter dreams of, is fighting on a huge card like this at the MGM Grand in Vegas for a world title. It couldn't be any more special, and I couldn't be more excited. We've had a great camp already and a few weeks to go, and yeah, I'm going to be in the shape of my life, and I'm going to put on the best performance of my career. You remember what age you had that first thought, that first dream, that first, all the bright lights, the big city, pay-per-view, everyone, the big, one of the biggest fights of the year? Yeah, I mean, we started boxing when we were about 13, but it probably wasn't until we were probably 16, 17, where you start watching the pro fights and the big events like this, and you think, that's what I want to do. I want to be part of that. And yeah, it couldn't get any bigger than this. And I'm going to leave absolutely everything I have in that ring, and I'm very confident I'm going to walk out with that belt strapped around my waist. What do you want to say to the fans in closing before we see you May 20th live on ESPN pay-per-view? Take on Junto Nakatani for the WBO title. Just make sure you tune in. It's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm going to show everyone what I'm all about. I'm going to walk out WBO champion of the world. Congratulations. We'll see you soon. Thank you. There's technical problems with those videos. Andrew Moloney in his fight against Junto Nakatani. I also, while I was in Vegas, got a chance to speak to junior welterweight Dalton Smith, who's undefeated, be fighting on July the 1st against Sam Maxwell in England, and this is how. Where they were undefeated junior welterweight Dalton Smith here in Las Vegas. Where they were undefeated junior welterweight Dalton Smith here in Las Vegas. On the eve of Gervonta Davis taking on Ryan Garcia tomorrow night, just down the road, T-Mobile. Dalton, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Nice to be in the States and be out here for one of the big fights. And for me as a fighter up and coming, and these are the highs where I want to reach. It's just good to get out here and feel the vibe, the atmosphere of how the US does it.
We talked a little bit before we hit the record button about how you're a kid, you read, you see the big lights in Vegas, and you dream of being there, and now you're here. Does it make the thirst anymore?
Yeah, that's it. I think until you're here, you don't actually realise what the buzz is like in Vegas. It's been an eye opener for me, and like I say, this is where I want to get to, and you know, if I keep working hard, you know, you see the big billboards behind me here. You know, I want my name on my face to be up there, you know, in the coming years.
So, so when you get back to England, you gonna make a call to Eddie, say, you know, you got to get me there soon.
Yeah, I think, you know, Eddie's doing a good job for me, and you know, I'm very confident he's going to get me out in the States. But you know, maybe this year, next year, and you know, maybe after winner of the guys who were on at the weekend. So you know, later down the line. But yeah, up until then, it's keep working hard.
Well, you first before you can worry about those. You have a July 1st date with Sam Maxwell, 17-1. You're undefeated. You feel this at least on paper? I know you haven't been in the ring with him. Going to be your toughest test to date?
Yeah, you know, Sam. You know, me and Sam, we know each other from the amateur days. You know, we've never actually sparred or boxed, but you know, we're very, you know, we're aware of each other, and it's going to be a great fight. You know, it's a fight. You know, it's probably the biggest fight for Sam out there. And yeah, it's going to be a great fight back in my hometown in Sheffield. You know, it'll be a sellout in the arena again, and you know, I'm looking forward to another big night.
You mentioned, you know, you may be fighting the winner at some point tomorrow night's fight, but the guys who are at 140 pounds, you're not too far off. I mean, we got Josh Taylor taking on Teofimo. Jack Catterall just signed with you guys with Matchroom. You know, so some good fights. The fight that just kind of got changed around with Rolly and Barroso for world titles. 140, and there's always been rumors of Josh moving up. So 140, it's pretty wide open right now. Is that the way you look at it? Yeah, you know, you look at the weight, and you know, the belts are moving around a little bit now, and you know, the opportunities are going to come, the windows are going to open, and you know, it's not only that. You look at the, you know, the 1 through 5 guys. You know, they're going to outgrow that weight in a couple of years, and they're going to be moving up. So there's a lot of big fights out there, and you know, these are the fights what, you know, make headlines in Vegas. And you know, as long as I keep working hard, you know, keep the big performances coming, you know, I'm very confident I'm going to be in myself. You have headline shows, and your July 1st, you're a headliner as well. But you, I mean, the comfort home being the headliner. Yeah. But I guess after being here the last couple of days, you wouldn't mind taking your show on the road, huh? You know, Vegas is the one, and you know, for me, my number one is to sell out my, you know, my local football club, Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough Stadium. You know, but after that, this is on the top of the list for me. You know, I want to end my career headlining Vegas at least once. You know, and then the sky's the limit. That's where we want to reach. I know. Asking if you want to, you're also here on some business. You said you're getting some work in LA. How does that compare to you know, you see different looks, different styles, work in LA than at home? Yeah, you know, I'm very well travelled with my career in boxing, and you know, from my amateur days, I've been lucky enough to travel the world and spar and fight some of the world's best. So, you know, I know how much it benefits you when you put yourself, you know, in out of your comfort zone. You go into, you know, the backstreet gyms of the US, and you know, you're sparring the tough guys. You know, that's what it's all about. So, you know, I've got, you know, 10-11 weeks up until my fight. You know, as I said to Junaid from the gym and my manager, you know, I want to come out for a couple of weeks and get some good sparring in, and you know, learn, you know, pick new things up, and you know, that's what it's about. It's about learning and, you know, moving on to those next levels, and that's what you've got to do to you know, reach the next levels. What do you want to say to the fans in closing? How do you say that? Closing thought. What do you want to tell the fans out there? You know, keep an eye on Dalton Smith. You know, I'm going to be one of the big names in the 140 division in the next, you know, in the very near future, and you know, keep an eye out, because you know, there's going to be some exciting times coming. Well, we think there are already some eyes on you. So you said keep an eye. There are some eyes. We wish you best of luck, and we'll keep tabs. We'll be watching July 1st. Yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank Dalton Smith for a few minutes of his time. Some news of the week. WBO cruiserweight contender David Light, who just fought Lawrence Okoli for the WBO cruiserweight championship, suffered a stroke, a mild stroke, and he underwent successful surgery for clot removal in Auckland, New Zealand. Top Rank Boxing won the right to promote the WBC mandatory light heavyweight bout between unified champion Arthur Beterbiev and Callum Smith with a bid of $2,115,000, just $15,000 more match room. It's amazing how close that these closed envelope bids are. Matchroom and DAZN announced a 3-year extension to stream the fights in the United States and in Mexico. The deal comes a couple of days before the pay-per-view that we've been talking about. Canelo Alvarez taking on John Ryder this Saturday night, $54.99 for the fight if you're a subscriber to DAZN. Top 10 ranked light heavyweight Ali Asmalov, 10-7 knockouts, will take on Charles Foster, 22-0, 12 knockouts in the 10-round main event at ShowBox New Generation card on Hall of Fame weekend up at the Turning Stone Resort Casino, Verona, New York. That fight will headline a card that will see a triple header. Richard Van Sicklen, 13-0-1, takes on a fellow unbeaten Juan Carrillo in a 10-round light heavyweight bout. Also opening up the telecast will be lightweight prospect Myquan Williams, 19-0-1, 8 knockouts, take on Ryan Martin, 25-2, 15 knockouts. Matchroom outbid Top Ranks. I guess they got even. For a purse bid for a junior welterweight eliminator between Arnold Barboza and Liam Perot. But a few days later, Barboza said he was not going to take part in the fight. So in steps Jose Ramirez. I think it's also doubtful that Ramirez is going to take the fight, considering he turned down an opportunity to fight for the world title. Maybe they're saying the next eligible contender could be Shojahan Ergashaw, but let's see what happens with Ramirez and Perot first if they go to purse bid. Former WBO heavyweight champion Joseph Parker will be back in action on May the 24th in Melbourne, England, as he takes on Fega Opolo, 15-3-2. Robesi Ramirez, the newly won WBO featherweight championship, will make the first defense of his title on July 25th as the co-feature to the Naoya Inoue Stephen Fulton 122-pound fight that a lot are anxiously awaiting. So Ramirez at 12-1, 7 knockouts will defend his title against Sakoshi Shimizu, 11-1, 10 knockouts. Looks like last weekend's, 2 weeks ago, Gervonta Davis's fight with Ryan Garcia was a box office bonanza, as over 1.2 million pay-per-view buys were purchased for the fight. Also had a gate of 22.8 million. I think it generated about $150 million did that fight. So in quiet expectations for the powers that be, we're hoping maybe 600,000-700,000 buys. Double that, 1.2 million. So let's hope that the trend continues with some good business for these pay-per-view fights coming up in the near future, starting this weekend with Ryder and taking on Canelo Alvarez. Sad news this week, former Cruiserweight World Champion Arthur Williams passed away in his sleep at the age of 58. Williams won the IBF Cruiserweight title in 1998 when he stopped Amamu Mayfield in the 9th round. He also beat Dwight Muhammad Quali back in 1982, and he lost a pair of split decisions to Orlin Norris and Chris Bird. Williams finished with a record of 47-17-1 with 30 knockouts. Boxing Hall of Famer Floyd Money Mayweather will be back in on his exhibition tour as he takes on the grandson of John Gotti. So John Gotti III is actually a boxer, a mixed martial artist. He's 2-0, 1 knockouts. That fight will take place, I believe, in June in Miami. ESPN announced that they will air a doubleheader of big punching heavyweights. The main event will pit Jared Big Baby Anderson, the real Big Baby Anderson, 14-0, 14 knockouts, against Jean Casablansky, 19-0, 18 knockouts. That will take place July 1 in Toledo, Ohio, which happens to be the hometown of Jared Anderson. The co-feature will pit WBC number 5 ranked heavyweight and NABF champion Arslanbek Mahmoudov, 16-0, 15 knockouts, taking on Rafael Akpajori, 15-0, 14 knockouts. So Akpajori, who I broadcast one of his fights last year, 6'8" heavyweight. Actually, we had Akpajori on the show. 15-0, 14 knockouts, former University of Miami basketball and football player. So should be 2 big knockout performances July 1st in Toledo, Ohio, live on ESPN+. Middleweight Liam Smith, 33-3-1, 20 knockouts, will rematch Chris Eubank, 32-3, 23 knockouts, in a rematch that will take place June the 17th at the AO Arena in Manchester, England. Smith upset Eubank back in January with an explosive 4th-round stoppage. Also on the card, Franchon Cruz-Dezurn will defend her undisputed super middleweight championship against recent very competitive folk across the Shield, Savannah Marshall. So that's a nice doubleheader. Will take place on June the 17th in Manchester, England. I'm sure there'll be a United States distribution deal announced soon. Former undisputed 135-pound champion George Kambosos, 20-2, will take on Maxie Hughes in an IBF lightweight IBO. I didn't say IBF. IBO lightweight fight on July 29th, maybe in Las Vegas. I believe I will be a part of an ESPN Plus card from somewhere in the United States, and Las Vegas is one of the venues being kicked around. So that's our show this week. Again, don't forget to watch the big fight Saturday night live on pay-per-view. Canelo Alvarez take on John Ryder. Also, you want to see a good, very competitive fight. BXNG TV, Rising Star Promotions, live from Washington, D.C., 7 o'clock Saturday night as well. Also, just came back from Nashville, Tennessee. Had a good fight card live. The Country Box 3 series had some good fights, some good country music, good comedy. So it's all night of boxing. We'll be back June the 13th with that one. But you can watch it on countrybox247.com. live for free if you missed it. So I think a lot of the fans will be thoroughly entertained what they see in this Country Box series live from Nashville, Tennessee. I'd like to thank Andrew Moloney and Dalton Smith for joining us this week. We'll see everyone next week on the Abrams Boxing Show. Thank you for tuning in. And again, we'll see you next week.